Well, let's move on to conversation number 3. And this has become a widely discussed topic this week, the Roshni Land Act scam, as it is being called. More and more names are emerging in this Roshni Land Scam, allegedly to the tune of 25,000 crore rupees. This has hit the political system and the political scenario of Jammu and Kashmir just days ahead of the first DDC elections that are going to be held since the abrogation of Article 370. The first election, the District Development Council election. But in the run-up to that, just as the rivals of BJP came together to join hands in Kashmir and set up a Gupkar Alliance, we have now seen a land scam unfolding day after day. The CBI, by the way, has filed 8 different FIRs in this case as they investigate this case. Senior state leaders, their names are being dragged into this. Now, let me tell you, what is this J&K Roshni scam? This act, actually, the Roshni Act, was passed in 2001 by the Farooq Abdullah government, the then government in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The intention at that time, it was said, was to regularize the encroached land, the unauthorized occupation of the state government's land that had happened and nobody is willing to give in. They said, okay, let's regularize it at least and get some money out of it in that process. So the intention was to give ownership to whoever had grabbed the land. You've illegally grabbed the land years, decades ago maybe. Now we are just giving you the ownership, but you give us some kind of a fee for that. The government said, we are hoping, because we need money, we are hoping that via this we will be able to raise 25,000 crore rupees for a power generation project that the state is planning, and that will give electricity to the whole state. That's, by the way, why this is called the Roshni Act. But it turned into a scam. So instead of raising 25,000 crore rupees, the Roshni scheme actually only fetched 76 crores. 71,000 acre of land was regularized in Jammu. Over 4,000 acre of land was regularized in Kashmir. It was only in 2014. All of this happened, by the way, between 2001 and 2007. It was only in 2014 when the CAG raised a red flag over the scheme. People began to look at it. In 2015, 20 officials were indicted by the State Vigilance Department. Then came the High Court. And the High Court looked at the scheme and was aghast that something like this was passed as a law in the state. And the Jammu and Kashmir High Court said that the Roshni Act is unconstitutional. The Jammu and Kashmir High Court said that all actions that have been done under this act are unconstitutional. So let's reveal the identities of those who grabbed the land. Their culpability must be investigated and give the case to the CBI. And hence, all of that is happening now, 2 years after the verdict came out. 2 years. So then, is the charge that is being made by the other side valid, that this is just political vendetta, that around election time they're coming after us, that there is no merit of truth in these allegations? Because that's essentially what most of the representatives of National Conference, PDP, are saying right now. Their names, big names, are named. Those lists are out. They've been made public. Diplomats, bureaucrats, hoteliers, they're also there, apart from the politicians. Let's just open this up for conversation and say good evening to Sudhanshu Mittal, Senior Spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Samir Kaul, Chief Spokesperson for the National Conference, Najmu Saqib, Spokesperson for the PDP, and Aarti Tikku Singh, Foreign and Strategic Affairs Editor of IANS, joining us this evening. Aarti, let me begin with you, because I am just trying to understand the idea behind this law and How could somebody even come forward and say, okay, it's encroached land, but let's take a nominal fee and just give you the ownership?
Well, thank you for inviting me to this discussion today. I have to give you some context in which Jammu and Kashmir has been functioning uh, in the country, at least I would say till last year. If you remember, J&K under Transparency International was number one or number two most corrupt states of the country, at least till a couple of years ago. And that was not without a reason. The reason is that Jammu and Kashmir's administration, whether it was under National Conference or PDP, uh, has been, I think, used to the idea of corruption because there was no accountability, no transparency, uh, especially because Jammu and Kashmir always used the card of being a special status state, used the card of having Article 370 in the Indian Constitution, and the fact that the center really did not bother itself for a very very long time. In fact, the center pumped in so much money that until last year, until the state was reorganized on August 5th, 2019, 90% of the funds came from the center. So in that context, you have to, imagine J&K's administration, wherein such laws, such schemes were rampant. I was a journalist for Times of India between the period that this Roshni Land Scam happened, and I know that there was a lot of talk about how the government brought this, act to actually not just regularize the encroached land, but also to make money out of it. So this is no surprise to anybody who has been following the developments in J&K, at least in the last 20-30 years. But besides that, I think the fundamental point here is this, that Jammu and Kashmir in the entire country had witnessed the biggest ethnic cleansing and exodus in 1990. 300,000 Kashmiri Pandits were evicted from Kashmir in 1990. Most of them were languishing in refugee camps when this act was brought in. The state government dumped Kashmiri Pandit refugees on the center, while people within, the government and cronies of National Conference, PDP, and Congress also were grabbing land. It is irony that you have an entire population which is homeless, landless. Their land has been encroached upon, their homes have been destroyed, and you go out so brazenly grabbing the land which belonged to the government, which belonged to, to people of the state. But there was absolute insensitivity and apathy on part of all the regional parties.
Okay.
Plus,
fair enough. That's a significant point that you have raised. If I can actually get Najmu Saqib to respond to that. Najmu, the irony of it, when people were languishing in relief camps and shelter camps, have lost everything that they had. There was this kind of legitimizing of land grab. What was the rationale behind doing this and backing it just to benefit a few politicians?
For the benefit of your viewers, let's give a brief background, because there's this whole sort of, this debate going on about the scam. First of all, it was a scheme passed by the Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. The total land, the leaseholding rights on which the people were, you can call them unauthorized possession or whatever, or leaseholding, the total land amount, the land bank was 3.5 lakh canals of the land, out of which 3,14,000 canals were identified in Jammu and 30,000 canals were identified in Kashmir. So the total valuation of that 3.5 lakh canals of the land was put at 350 crores. Okay, so it's not 25,000 crores. First, it's about the number. The total amount that was to be realized was 350 crores. So out of 350 crores in Jammu, the amount that was realized was 20 crores. So that means the total amount that was to be realized in Jammu province was 190 crores. So out of 190 crores, only 20 crores were realized in Jammu. So 170 crore is still unrealized in Jammu. So out of the total land that was given under Roshni scheme, that was taken under Roshni scheme, was 30,000 canal. And the total valuation of 30,000 canal was estimated to be 120 crores. Out of 120 crores rupees, 65 crore rupees has already been realized, which puts the total figure that 170 crore is unrealized in Jammu and 60 crore is unrealized in Kashmir. So which puts the total figure of 150 crores.
I'm a
So
little
it's a matter of just
surprised that you're
150
saying this
crores.
with
Why
such
doesn't the government
ease.
go and realize? So my point. This is for the benefit of
It's
the
been
background.
this realization, this scheme implementation, the money that you're talking about has been pending for years. And I'm a little amazed that you are saying it with such ease that it's just about a few hundred crores.
That's a very valid point that you have raised. See, time and again, government has issued notifications to the defaulters to sort of deposit the amount. Some are still forthcoming. Then there was some cases which were filed in the courts. So this has been languishing for a while now.
Okay.
So if the government is serious about realizing the money, let's go and realize the money. So out of the total land, under the Roshni scheme, you will be amazed to know that 90,000 canals out of 3.5 lakh
But
canal was
if now that I don't think that
Udhampur.
conversation takes place anymore, because if the law is unconstitutional and everything that was done in the name of this law is also unconstitutional, so that land technically is still state's land. I don't know why you're still talking about collecting that money anymore. May I just bring in Dr. Samir Kaul? I think we had a bit of an audio issue with him. Dr. Kaul, can you hear me?
I can, Tanvi.
Okay.
Thank you for having me on the program. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So let's again try and understand, Dr. Kaul, what was the rationale, and according to National Conference, who benefited from this scheme?
Well, Tanvi, thanks for having me on the show. But what I need to tell you is that a well thought of scheme by the earlier government with UPA in the center decided that there was a lot of land lying in the hands of illegitimately in hands of people, which needed to be realized by the government, and they thought of a scheme. And successive governments thereafter, Ghulam Nabi Azad's government, National Conference government, and then also the PDP and BJP government procreated it with the effect of realizing at least some money in the favor of the exchequer, which means to the government, whatever can be realized to make it legitimate. It was a scheme, according to a government of that time policy, which was implemented, and people went in for it, legitimately applied for it. Some paid the dues, some didn't. The rates were fixed by the government, and people paid those rates. They availed discounts which were part of that policy, and it went on. Today, for some reason, which everybody in this country knows, to defame and to put down people because they are contesting the BJP in the DDC elections that are coming up. So timely, this has been blown up, and stories are being planted all over to discredit the opposition to the BJP in Jammu and Kashmir, just to show that people's land and people's rights have been plundered by the local politicians.
Irrespective of the timing, and if people are more concerned about, like you say, Samir Kaul, about their rights being taken or their land being taken, they will obviously vote on that more than bothering about what you guys or your parties allegedly did and the land that you grabbed under this scheme. So let's not mix the two issues. Let's talk about the merit of the allegations rather than the timing. The timing can always be tricky.
No.
Let's talk about the merit of the allegations.
You think it is very simple? You think I am mixing issues? I am not. You are mixing issues to a political gain. And you are playing to an audience and trying to discredit local politicians and whatever they stood for, just to gain a few votes for the BJP party. And if you're party to it, say sorry. And if you're not, then just forget about it and move on.
Who is this
don't
you
fix
are referring
blame
to?
and be part of this fallacious media message that is being played.
Are you
that people's rights
telling
were
me
usurped
this?
by their own representatives? No, that's not the correct thing.
Please don't.
Nobody
Samir
knows,
Kaur,
and of
I
course-
think you are a lot more smarter than to use that tactic. Please don't use that tactic here on Mirror Now about accusing the media. We're having a very
tactic-
polite
what
and decent
tactic are we-
conversation. I want to
I
talk
am
about the merits of
absolutely
an allegation of a scam where the High Court has ruled that the scheme was unconstitutional. Where a FIR has been
good
2
for
years
it.
later has been filed by the CBI. If you say the timing
can I
is
pitch in?
suspect, of course the time is suspect.
So
Because
the
if for
legal
2 years
proceedings
nothing was
must-
done about it. Yes,
So
the
the
timing
legal
was suspect.
proceedings must-
But does it
Yes,
take away
because
from the
the
merit of the allegations? That's the
Can I
point.
pitch in?
Here's nothing. If PDP and BJP decided to do nothing about it, it's no skin off me, my friend. It's skin off the BJP. Ask them.
Okay,
Why
let's
they
ask
didn't do
them.
anything about it for 2 years.
Sudhanshu
If
Mittal,
it was such
let's
a
begin with
meritorious
this. Why
thing,
did you wait
it
2
was- it
years?
was a
Why did you
policy.
not do anything all of
Ask
last
BJP.
year?
Ask BJP.
But only now,
They are in
days
rule.
before
They were
elections.
part of the government.
Yeah,
Don't
Samir
ask
Kaur,
me.
let's ask BJP that question. Yeah.
Yes, please do.
Tanvi, I think there is some confusion about the dates we are talking here. You see, the High Court order is on the 9th of October 2020. This act was repealed by Governor 2 years back. But that is unconstitutional, and not only is it unconstitutional, it is unconstitutional ab initio, which means on day one, what was done was illegal. So retrospectively, from day one, all land has to be recovered is an order which the High Court has given on the 9th of October 2020.
Okay, and the
So
governor, you are right there. The
allow-
governor is the one who repealed it 2 years
Can I
ago.
pitch in, Tanvi?
Allow me to finish. Allow me to finish. So now to say that the timings is suspect, I mean, when a High Court delivers a judgment, is it something which is controlled by the BJP or the administration of Jammu and Kashmir?
Can I pitch in?
I think. Can I finish? Can I just make my
Yeah.
point and then please? say
Najmul
whatever
Saqib,
you
I'll
want to
come to
say.
you next. Let him make his point.
So the entire tirade of this being orchestrated because of the DDC is such a perverse logic. 9th October is just 15 days back. We have nothing to do with it. And what has been followed is an order of the High Court which said it is illegal ab initio and it should now be given to CBI and they should be prosecuted. Now, if that is being implemented, you are saying there's politics behind it. I think this is very, very perverse.
Okay, so I have...
It is the defense. If it is the defense of somebody who's defenseless. So the only thing he can say is this is political. The merit of the act which was done. Look, imagine what is a canal? It is 605 yards. I was listening to a lot of debates saying in Delhi you regularize. You regularize what? Holding of 15 yards, 20 yards, 25 gaz ki jagah. You never regularize holding of acres. 7 canal कितने होते हैं भाई? 7 canal 1.5 एकड़ होता है, पौने 2 एकड़ होता है. It is 1.5 quarter to 2 acres. You are plundering huge land, prime land, to these political people for their commercial benefits. You are comparing it to regularizing a holding of somebody who's got 15 square yards, a poor man. Please don't camouflage that. You are all guilty of it. You knew what you did. The only thing is High Court has taken cognizance, has hauled you up. Now you will all be going behind the Prevention of Corruption Act. That is what is haunting
That
you.
we will wait
That
and
is
watch.
the reason.
Mr. Sudhanshu Mittal,
Sure.
we are yet to see your opposition party rivals getting convicted in corruption. There are lots of cases.
one
Some
moment.
may have
Can
been
I pitch in,
arrested, but convictions are yet to come along.
I have a small point to make.
Yes,
Can I pitch in?
Najmul Saqib, yes.
If there is merit to what Sudhanshu ji is saying, then why is the present advisor to the Lieutenant Governor right now, who is implicated by Honorable High Court, implicated, mind is implicated, and is serving as an advisor to the present dispensation in Jammu and Kashmir? Why has there been no action against him? Number one. That's the moot point. If I have to ask Sudhanshu ji.
Please, I
you
can.
can't. Your deputy chief
Can I
minister, former
answer?
deputy chief minister, Nirmal Singh ji, has encroached upon defense land in Jammu. Why has there been no action against him?
Middle of the
Why?
cantonment.
Number one. Number
See,
two.
it is so amazing.
Sorry,
It
sir.
is
Just
so
one
amazing.
last point.
Can
One
I
last point.
respond?
Okay, no, let him finish his point.
One last point.
Yeah.
One last point. The High Court in its observation says that it was a nexus of police and bureaucracy. Why is there no action against police and bureaucracy?
Government officials have been booked, Najmu Saqib.
If there is a scam, as you say, which we don't believe it is, it was a legal scheme. It was a scheme. It was a very thoughtful scheme. To sort of get money for the government exchequer. It was a very well thought out scheme.
Okay, Sudhanshu Mittal will respond to that, and then I actually want to go into a detail that is getting ignored here, or perhaps an angle that is getting mixed up. The legitimacy of the scheme versus the implementation and the benefit, and whether there was cheating involved in that aspect, not the scheme itself. There are two different aspects. Sudhanshu Mittal respond on that, and then I want Aarti Tikku to come in as well. Sudhanshu Mittal first.
The valuation of the land was estimated to be
Can I speak now,
crores.
sir? Can I speak, sir?
Please go ahead.
Now, the allegation made that there is a advisor to the government. I am on record. I've spoken about it to the concerned people. I am on record. If there is anything which is against anybody, you shall see what will happen in the next 3 days.
It's been implicated by
I
High
want
Court,
to
Sudhanshu ji.
allow me to finish. What is the implication? What has the High Court said? We are talking about the Roshni Act. Please understand. No, you're not. You're making a misstatement. The list which has come out, it is there for everybody to see who's got it converted. And let me assure you once again. Please wait for the next 3 days to see what is going to happen. So why?
High Court gave judgment 1 month back.
अरे सुन तो लीजिए सर सुनिए तो भाई मेरी बात तो सुन लीजिए. इब्तिदा इश्क है रोता है क्या आगे आगे देखिए होता है क्या. आपने कहा कि साहब what has happened to the IAS officers, what has happened to the police officers. I am on record. I'm saying it with a sense of authority. Be it anybody, the advisor, if you say, the IAS, the IPS, the bureaucracy, the polity, everybody, they must now fear the Prevention of Corruption Act. And that is what is actually unnerving all of you. Making wild allegations ki Nirmal Singh ji ne ye kara, wo kara, let it come. Let the orders
so
come.
Mr. Sudhanshu Mittal, I have one question, and I have one question for you, Sudhanshu Mittal.
Yes.
And because BJP loves to quote us history so often, this law was introduced at a time when the National Conference was an ally of your party. What did your party think of it then?
No, it was not an ally of BJP in 2001 when this law was made. Please, this is a misnomer, so let's not talk about it. In 2001, this was implemented. This law came into...
Do you know till when it went on?
No.
Do you know till when it went on? And are you saying in all of that period you were never friends with the National Conference? And Omar Abdullah was never a friend at the center with Farooq Abdullah at the helm of things in the state?
Mr.
Sudhanshu Mittal, let's just be very honest about how things function on this panel tonight. I have the PDP, the National Conference, and the BJP, and you have been friends with both of these parties at one or the other time.
Please understand that we have not been... Sir, can I speak? We are having a civilized debate. I think we're all entitled to put our points of view. No? Let's have a civilized debate. In 2001, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2009, 2013, we have not been in alliance with the National Conference ever in Jammu and Kashmir. That's on record.
And I'm not saying in Jammu and Kashmir. Where have I ever said in Jammu and Kashmir? Where have I ever said in Jammu and Kashmir?
Tanvi, what are we dealing with? We are dealing with...
Come on, Sudhanshu Mittal.
Corruption. No, Tanvi, we are dealing with corruption of Jammu and Kashmir.
So it's okay to be friends with them in Ladakh. It's okay to fight elections with them in Ladakh. It's okay to give them ministries at the center. But in Jammu and Kashmir, you are their enemy. Come on
We
now.
have, that's the quality of the country.
Except
We have opposed-
कि आप
we have
लोग
opposed national- अरे
घबरा
भाई,
गए
मेरे
हैं
को
PhD से
आप हैकल क्यों कर रहे
क्योंकि
हैं?
आपको
आप
पता
हैकल
है
क्यों कर रहे हैं?
people will give
आप
you a
हैकल
befitting
क्यों कर रहे हैं?
response this time.
Okay,
अरे
okay,
भाई,
1 minute.
जम्मू
Dr.
के लोग
Sameer
खिलाफ
Kaul
हैं,
is very
कश्मीर के
silent
लोग
on this
खिलाफ हैं.
aspect. Sameer Kaul, help us understand how it works when your friends at the center, when in fact you're also fighting elections together in one part and not the other part where you're opposite each other.
But the fact of the matter, actually, Tanvi, is that we have instructed the Kargil unit of the National Conference is absolutely against this thing that the Hill Council people in Ladakh Leh are doing, and we've asked them to dissociate. And it is their choice now what they're going to do. But the party directive for them is to dissociate with the BJP because we are against the philosophy. But the fact of the matter is that it has unnerved the mighty BJP that the Kashmirian parties who were at each other's throats have today aligned together for the people of Jammu, Kashmir, and Ladakh. Mind you, the people in Jammu today are also unhappy about what has happened lately. They're not happy. Well, no matter what the BJP says, and the people will answer. It's just a matter of a few days. The election results will tell you where people stand. And then why should we be at each other's throats?
I think it's also...
Let the people speak. They will in a few days' time.
Yeah,
and
it is also undeniable the amount of unhappiness that has been there for decades together. And of course, like you said, in a few days we will find out what the mood of Jammu and Kashmir and voters there is. But Aarti Tikku Singh, if I can just come back to you, on the aspect of the scheme itself and the way it was utilized, the fact that it was said that we are going to just legitimize this land grabbing and raise some money out of it, but essentially, did it only benefit a few people and not even the others?
Absolutely, Tanvi. If you look at the names that have appeared in the list that the government put out, you will see some of the biggest names who are affiliated directly or indirectly with National Conference, with PDP, and with other political parties. I do have to say that yes, BJP was an ally of the NC. I mean, NC was an ally of the NDA during Vajpayee's time. And of course, PDP also has been an ally of the BJP. But for the most part, it was National Conference that ruled Jammu and Kashmir. And after that, of course, PDP. Having said that, I want to put this on.
How does that mean? How does that work out? I mean, I'm so sorry to interrupt, Aarti, but what does that mean? That BJP and PDP were part and BJP and National Conference were part, but it was National Conference and PDP that ruled. I mean, what does that mean?
Okay. Sameer Kaul, let her finish. Aarti Tikku is just asking you, what does it mean to say that?
It doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, but it doesn't.
Let her finish her point. Maybe it will make sense. Let her at least finish her point.
Sense to you.
It's
you
a bit
can walk out.
That's why.
You don't have to listen to this. This is completely unfair and it's so uncivil of you. Completely uncivil. So, Tanvi, my point is that
I just thought that it was so contradictory that even in the beginning it was so contradictory.
You have no business talking to me like that. This is completely uncivil. Please learn some manners. You're basic.
Unfortunately, it is not the detractors that you're talking to. This is the national television, and you please maintain your civility.
Okay, all right. Can we not please sit here and get personal about each other? May I just listen to Aarti Tikku? Let her finish her point, please. Yes.
Please do. I'm willing to listen to her.
Please don't listen to me. Take out your headphones. You don't have to listen to me. So my point is,
I'm quite willing to. I'm in fact anxious to.
This is completely pathetic on your part, Dr. Kaul. I didn't expect you to behave like this. Anyway, Tanvi, I was saying that, of course, politicians are complicit, whether they are from the BJP or the NC or the PDP or the Congress party. Everybody has had its own share of corruption in Jammu and Kashmir. Having said that, I have to say that the Roshni Land Scam came at a point when J&K was not only, committing corruption in land grabbing, it was committing corruption in every other sphere. Look at all the CAG reports of the last 20 years, ever since, or maybe 25 years. Look at annual reports of CAG and see how many funds of the central government were misappropriated in every other department. I mean, whom are they going to fool? The amount of money the politicians in Jammu and Kashmir and their cronies have made, while the common man has suffered, the refugees like me suffered. These people have no sensitivity, no basic civility to see what they did to the state in the last 30 years. And they have the cheek to say today that they are not complicit and they are not culpable. I mean, look at the amount of money that the center sent to J&K in the 30 years, but where is it gone?
Where is it gone? Where has the money gone is a very legitimate question, Aarti Tikku Singh. And you know what? I think we should have a conversation on that another day where we sit down, open the books and see how the center support actually is used or not used. Completely out of time to all of our panelists. Thank you for joining us. I am very sure we'll have a lot more conversations in the run-up to the DDC polls that actually start from this weekend, and they will be the first polls since the abrogation of Article 370. Political parties are all participating from PDP to National Conference. It will be interesting to see what the people of Jammu and Kashmir have to say. But I think people of Jammu and Kashmir are going to vote on the issues that matter to them, which are bigger right now than these charges. And I say this because, yes, there is a sentiment, and that sentiment has been there for years now, for the alleged corruption that goes on by the parties of Jammu and Kashmir, specifically the big families that have led these parties for years together. The big question is, will the CBI be able to prove their case against the big names? That we have to wait and watch. Thank you so much for joining us on this conversation.